Hello everyone, today I'll be checking out 12month in Burlingame, which is known for their plant-based vegan menu. I haven't shown a lot of vegan food on the channel, but I thought the 12month would be a great restaurant to feature since they have such a wide variety of dishes on their menu. They also pride themselves on using fresh, high-quality ingredients, which I always really appreciate in a restaurant, so I have a feeling this is going to be a good one. So let's go. I just got seated here at 12month, and I really love the interior design here because it feels really classy and kind of opulent in a way, and the prices on the menu do reflect that because it does seem to be a little bit on the pricier side considering everything is all plant-based, but I have a feeling that means all the food is going to be really special here. I'll be starting off with one of their starters. This is quite possibly the most famous dish on their menu, which is the bean stew, and this just looks amazing. It's topped off with all these freshly made croutons, and it just looks so tantalizing. And it smells very subtle. I just smell the scent of the beans, and I have a feeling this is really gonna not be about heavy on the spices. It's just gonna be about appreciating all of the fresh ingredients that go into this. Here we go. I know this is gonna be delicious and comforting now. Since it's a little bit of a chilly day today, I know this is gonna warm me up straight away. Oh, the broth is just invigorating. I get this rich, zesty, tomatoey flavor, and then as you bite into it, all the beans are so soft and delicate. I mean, they almost just dissolve on your tongue, and this really just feels like the best kind of warm hug do you want on a cold day like today. Now I'm gonna go for a bite with these croutons while they're still nice and crispy, and they look a little bit shiny, almost like they're covered in some sort of vegan butter, as everything on the menu here is plant-based. You know what, it actually just tastes like a piece of toasted sourdough bread, but I will say they're using a pretty nice quality sourdough because it's got that iconic sourdough tang to it, and it definitely tastes like freshly made bread. Now I'm going to be going for their dumplings, which was actually my server's recommendation because these are filled with a mushroom filling, and then it's covered in chili oil, which I always go crazy for. So I already know this is going to be tasty because I love dumplings and I love anything that's spicy, and I definitely see the shine of the chili oil on the bottom. Oh my gosh, these are actually fantastic dumplings. I was not expecting this. It's just like an explosion of flavor. I mean, the outer wrapper is really nice and soft and chewy, and then the sauce is just ridiculous. It's just like a little bit spicy, a little bit savory, and it's got this really earthy flavor from all the soy sauce in there, and it also gets a little bit more depth and a little bit of tang from the black vinegar in there, but it's just a touch, so it's not too overwhelming. And I mean, the inside filling is also a highlight because the shiitake mushroom filling has got so much more flavor. In fact, I would argue it has more flavor than most meat-filled dumplings. And then to go along with it, on top you got all the fresh green onions and all the crispy peanuts. I'm telling you, I seriously can't get enough of these dumplings. These are a must order here. I mean, these are addictive. I could probably finish off like 3 or 4 plates of these easily just because they're so light and so flavorful. It's time now for round 2 of our appetizers, and I just got to say I love the service here because everyone's been super friendly and helpful, and literally it seems like everything is coming out in courses because they even cleared the plates and gave us new utensils, so I really gotta appreciate that 5-star service. These are their fried maitake mushrooms, and it's served with a whipped ranch on the side, so I'm really kind of curious to see how a vegan ranch is gonna taste like, because to me, the ranch has a very creamy, heavy, buttery taste to it just because of all the fat and all the milk fat in there, so I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to be different. These smell so tantalizing. It definitely appears to be a sort of tempura style batter, and it definitely smells like it too. It just smells really nice and spicy because it's topped off with a little bit of a chili powder, so I know this is going to be right up my alley. Well, the ingredients with this are so simple, but so good. I mean, first off, the maitake mushroom is delicious. To me, it's sort of like more of a wild mushroom, so it's got a really rich, earthy taste to it. And because it's been very delicately fried, it's just ultra tender and bursting with juiciness. And I love the texture of the batter as well, because it's really light and airy and crispy on the outside, and the inside is still kind of soft and gooey, and I love how that pairs with the taste of the mushroom. And on top, it's literally just a little bit of salt and a little bit of chili powder, so it just gives it a little bit of warm, tingling heat, but really nothing too crazy. And now I'm gonna just go in for a dunk and just coat it in some of this whipped up ranch, so I'm really intrigued by this. All right, here we go, my first taste of vegan ranch. Wow, this is really interesting. You know, typically I'm not the biggest fan of ranch, but this vegan ranch I'm definitely down with, because it definitely tastes a little bit different. It's more tangy and more sour than your typical ranch, so it feels a little bit lighter. And just the viscosity of it is also a bit thinner, maybe since it's whipped, so it has a much lighter taste to it. It just doesn't taste quite as heavy and filling and sort of weigh you down. It's just more of like a nice light sauce, which is a great complement to these battered mushrooms. For my final appetizer, I ordered the whipped Italian butter beans, and this one I'm really curious about because it looks like it's served with that same sourdough toast that made up the croutons that were on my bean stew. And I'm really curious about the whipped butter beans since I've never had Italian butter beans before. Here we go. It just looks ultra smooth and velvety. Wow, I don't think I've ever had anything like that before. The closest comparison I could give to this is in some ways it sort of reminds me of a hummus dip, but it's definitely different because it tastes like it's just been made with like the inside of beans, so you don't taste the skins on a bean, so it's really smooth and silky. In some ways, it almost tastes fluffy in a sense, and it just kind of dissolves and melts on your tongue with every single bite, and it just feels so simple, yet so perfectly made. Now it's time for our main dishes. This is the sunchoke curry, which is one of the waitress's recommendations, and I'm looking forward to this since it's made with tofu and seasonal autumn vegetables, so I already know that this is gonna hit good. To start, I'm gonna get a bite of the tofu with some of the curry sauce, and this is interesting because the tofu is fried, and then the curry sauce is really thin, almost like a broth, so when it came out, it actually just came out with the vegetables and the tofu, and then they poured all of the curry broth on top just so the tofu stays a little bit crispy. Oh, this is so delicious. It tastes like a coconut-based curry, so I definitely get sort of velvety, fatty texture just from the coconut that I believe that's in there. It tastes a little bit coconutty, and then I taste a lot of turmeric, which gives it a really bright yellow color, and that finally brings that brightness and flavor. And then the tofu is deep fried, but it's not oily at all. It's just really airy and light and crispy. It's almost like biting into a fried tofu cloud. Now I'll get a bite with the seasonal vegetables, and there's also a little bit of edible flower petals on it too, just to make it a little bit more fancy. Oh, that is beautiful. I love all the fresh vegetables in there. Of course, you got the snap peas, which bring a little bit of sweetness. And then you also have large pieces of Brussels sprouts, which I enjoy since they're not overcooked, so I don't really get that mushy texture. They're nice and firm to the bite. And then I also believe there's a little bit of parsnips in there, which add a really interesting taste to it as well. And this is just a really well executed dish because, I mean, I love the colors, I love the presentation, and I love the combination of flavors. This is their bolognese, which is a lentil bolognese served over tagliatelle pasta, and it's topped off with a celery and parmesan sauce, and I'm really curious to know what that parmesan flavor is going to be coming for. I don't think I'm going to exactly know what it is, but I'm kind of curious to see how that sort of flavor is going to go with everything. Oh, this is another great dish. I'll start off by saying the noodles definitely taste handmade because they have this really silky texture. My only wish is that they'd have a little bit more of a bite, a little bit of more of a chew to it, but I can't tell it's homemade just because of the really silky and smooth texture. What I will say is the highlight is the sauces on here. I mean, the lentil bolognese is just right. The lentils are nice and soft, yet they maintain some body and chew to it still, and the sauce is just a little bit tomatoey, a little bit tangy, but it's not too overwhelming because the real highlight is the sauce on top, which is that celery Parmesan sauce. Because to me, what's really striking is I taste the sharp Parmesan flavor and then followed up by sharp herbaceous flavor of the celery. That being said, there is no real Parmesan in here, so I don't know how they did it. This is just like some sort of kitchen magic that they're doing back there, but this is a dish that definitely works. I also had to try their sweet potato risotto because I'm a big risotto person, and this, just like all the other dishes, looks really colorful because I love the sauce on top as well as all the toppings of like the kale and just everything. It just looks so beautifully presented, and it definitely makes me want to eat it even more. Oh, I'm definitely impressed with this. First off, I gotta say, it is very sweet, that they got so many sweet flavors going on. I mean, they have the whole pieces of sweet potato that are cut up into little cubes, and then you have sweet potato puree that makes up the base of the risotto, and then on top of that, you have some caramelized shallots, which add really pleasant and sort of sticky sweetness to it. And then also at the end, I get a little bit of aftertaste of like a vegan butter, because I definitely can tell it's not your typical dairy butter. It has a little bit of a different taste to it, but I definitely understand why they add in that mock butter. It definitely gives this risotto the body and the richness that it needs. I decided to go for dessert because they had such an amazing dessert menu. Everything looked incredible and it was so hard to choose, but I decided to go for their pumpkin malasadas with apple compote, since this is one of their seasonal desserts, and I feel like this just screams fall. I want to go ahead and start off by trying the malasada on its own before I get some with the apple compote, because I just want to kind of taste the pumpkin flavor and to see what it's like, because it looks like it's dusted with a very fine sugar coating, so it doesn't look like it's going to be overly sweet. And just as I broke into it, it feels really nice and pillowy, yet it feels nice, like it's got a bit of a chew to it as well. Oh, that is really nice. That's even tastier than I expected it to be. The outside is really nice and crispy and chewy, and then the inside is really nice and fluffy, but it also maintains a bit of a body to it, and it also has a bit of a really nice dense fluffiness to it. And I really enjoy that pumpkin flavor in there because it just tastes so warm and comforting. I mean, it tastes plenty of cinnamon. However, I will say it is a little bit sweeter than I expected, but it is still not too sweet. Now I'm gonna go for a bite with the apple compote, and I already know I'm gonna love this because I love the combination of pumpkin and apple combined together, and I love any sort of dessert that has some sort of fruity element to it. Oh wow, that's even better with the apple compote. I mean, it could be very simple. It could only be just apples and cinnamon, but no, it's apples, cinnamon, sugar, as well as cloves. And the cloves is what makes this just all the more elegant and fancy and kind of takes it to the next level, because to me, cloves is a must with any sort of pumpkin sort of dessert. So when you combine the cloves that's in this apple compote with the pumpkin malasada, it is just insanely good. And honestly, this really isn't oily at all either. I mean, I can barely even tell that it's fried because it's not heavy at all, and I know it's really bad, but I could probably finish this entire dessert of 3 malasadas plus the apple compote in one sitting because it's really that easy to eat. What a great overall dining experience this was here at 12month. Everything from the atmosphere here to the service to the presentation of every dish to the taste of every dish, everything was definitely 5 stars. I have 2 things to say. One is that if you're looking for a great vegan restaurant in the Bay Area, this is definitely the place to be because everything is so well made. I love the quality and tasted ingredients, and I love that they're also using seasonal ingredients as well. And the second is I highly recommend this if you're looking for a fine dining experience but you don't want to completely break the bank, because all things considered, based off the atmosphere and the super attentive service and the quality of the dishes, I mean, I would say this definitely qualifies as a fine dining restaurant, but I would say for the Bay Area, the prices are definitely reasonable for fine dining. Now for my favorites, and I will say disclaimer, some of these might change. I mean, one of my favorites was the bean stew, which they do always have all year round, so that's definitely a must order. I also really enjoyed the mushrooms because those were so fun and crispy, and the dumplings were also a major highlight as far as the small plates go. And for the main dishes, I would say my favorite out of the main dishes was the tofu curry, because I really enjoyed the fried crispy texture of the tofu, the flavor of the curry, as well as all the the fresh vegetables in there, but that is definitely one of those seasonal dishes that they have this autumn. So it's actually possible they might have it next autumn. So definitely look out for that one if you're here. And then obviously I only ordered one dessert, but again, if you're here during autumn and you see those pumpkin malasadas, a must order. I mean, a meal here isn't complete without ordering at least one dessert. And as always, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.